Hello, everybody. This is Andy Gibson with InfoTrust. Going to give it a few more seconds here for some people to still join. I know it's probably early for some people, late for some other people. Some people might be eating lunch. So give it a couple minutes here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Um, some housekeeping while we wait. I will be recording this webinar. I have a slide in here mentioning that, but we'll be recording the webinar and we'll also make the deck available as well. So we'll send those out after the webinar is finished. And if you have any questions, there is a question panel on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar control panel. Feel free to drop those in there. I have some time at the end to walk through that. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to be walking you guys through how to know if your organization is ready for Google Analytics 360. So I mentioned a couple of these housekeeping items, but just to reiterate, yep, we are definitely recording this webinar. We'll send this out, the recording, along with the deck afterwards, so that usually comes out the next day or two. I've left time at the end for Q&A, so if you have questions, feel free to submit those questions via the GoToWebinar panel. And then my email address is on the last slide if you have any additional questions you'd like to ask afterwards, so after you review the slides or anything like that. A little bit about me. So my name is Andy Gibson. I've worked with InfoTrust for almost 6 years now. It'll be 6 years at the end of this month. My official title, I'm the head of vertical for InfoTrust. I'm a Google marketing platform expert. So I've worked with Google Analytics 360 for pretty much my entire time at InfoTrust. I work with some of the largest companies and brands in the world to help them improve their digital analytics knowledge, their capabilities. I do a lot of different training programs for both our internal company and then also external with clients across the world. Let's see, I'm an adjunct professor as well. I actually teach at the University of Cincinnati's Carl H. Linder College of Business. So that's been something I've done the last 3 years, which has been pretty rewarding. It's a course on digital analytics, something that I wish I would have been able to take when I was getting my master's at the University of Dayton. All right, so let me introduce the company that I work for. We're called InfoTrust. We are an independent analytics consultancy and product development company. We're headquarters in Cincinnati. That's where I work out of, but we also have offices in Chicago, Barcelona, and then Dubai as well. So we cover a number of different time zones. We also have remote employees across the US, so a pretty big footprint. Some of the different types of things we do, data compliance and security. We actually have a product called Tag Inspector. It's taginspector.com that handles a lot of that kind of data privacy, data compliance, security piece. We do a lot of digital analytics, architecture, integration, technical implementation and support, reporting and insights, dashboarding, stuff like that, and then also digital analytics strategy and data science. So a lot of different services we cover, but we're essentially a full service analytics consultancy. Some of the technology partnerships we have, so we are Google Marketing Platform certified. We are Google Analytics certified partners. We are Google Analytics 360 sales partners, so we actually resell the product. We've worked with the DoubleClick stack, which has been since renamed and moved into the Google Marketing Platform. We'll be Google Cloud certified by July. And then we also work with a few other companies like BlueConic, who has a great customer data platform, and then SessionCam, which does some like on-site visuals and scroll tracking and some other types of like user activity tracking. Okay, so for today, I wanted to cover a few things for you. So one is Google Analytics 360 right for your organization? I'll walk you through if you're ready for something like an enterprise analytics tool. Indicators you may need Google Analytics 360. So if you're currently using another tool or the free version of Google Analytics, I'll walk you through some situations where that might be pointing to maybe you do need the enterprise version. Google Analytics 360, so how to actually present ROI to make a business case within your organization. Selling the GA360 to management. This is another important piece of getting this actually approved within your organization. Choosing a sales partner, so this is extremely important. We work with a number of clients that have gone through that sales process with not only us, but others as well. And so we have a lot of intuition into kind of what that looks like. And then I have time at the end here for Q&As. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to add those to the question panel, but let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's discuss if an enterprise level platform like Google Analytics 360 is right for your organization. Working with some of the largest companies and brands in the world, we get to hear their largest digital analytics pain points. So these come up in sales conversations, they come up when we first start working with a client, and then of course, pretty much throughout our work with them. Really, the number one business problem we hear is that they have an enormous amount of data, but they have little to no ability to actually generate insights or actions out of that data. And this is a global CPG enterprise CIO that we work with that basically just says, we're drowning in data and they're starving for insight. And if you feel the same way, you're not alone. A lot of the large organizations that we work with really feel similar. They just collect so much data. They have so many different data sources, so many different areas where that data is being housed, nothing's connected. They really can't pull all of that data in somewhere to get that insight that they're looking for. Purchasing an enterprise level tool is not going to solve this issue on its own. I want to go ahead and level set your expectations right there. There's no magic solution where you hand over, $300,000 or $150,000 or whatever your tool costs and say, okay, great, we're done. Our problems are solved. That's not how it works. But I will introduce you to the ways in which Google Analytics can help you, Google Analytics 360 specifically, and some of the other processes and things that will be involved in actually making that successful. One thing that we typically walk our clients through is what we call our 6 Ps of digital analytics transformation. This is our framework. This is a model that we use with all of our clients for how to transform their digital analytics operations throughout the organization. So you can see here what this process looks like. We have purpose, which is effectively what is the purpose of this project, this transformation, why are we doing this? The next 3 sections are combined, so people, platforms, and process. These are all important within getting a enterprise level tool like Google Analytics 360 added to your company's kind of repertoire. And then you have pace and payoff. So pace is how quickly you can actually deliver value from this process, from this transformation, and then payoff is ultimately what is that ROI that we're able to generate out of this. I want to stress a few things here. So one is if you do not have skilled, knowledgeable people and you don't have defined processes to take action on your data, you should not invest in an enterprise level tool like GA360. These 2 Ps, the people and process, these are extremely important to have in place before you should invest in a tool like Google Analytics 360. A lot of paid enterprise tools have free or scaled down versions that are available for you to utilize. So if you're not currently using many of the features that are in the free or kind of scaled down version, you're not really ready for an enterprise tool like GA360. So if you're on Google Analytics, the free version, and you're barely using it, or you're just using it for reporting or something like that, we probably make the argument that that's not something that you actually need to jump up to GA360 right away. It's much more important to have those people and processes in place before you upgrade to kind of this enterprise level solution. Obviously, we resell the GA360 product as sales partners, but we only work with organizations that have an actual need and are ready to utilize an enterprise platform like GA360. We don't just accept anyone that comes to us and says, hey, we want to buy this product, sell us this product. It doesn't work like that for us. We are looking for a partnership, and with a partnership, it takes 2. So the partnership's not going to be successful if we sell to somebody that isn't ready for that product. At the end of the day, we've failed to transform your organization's digital analytics, and us, from our end, we're not getting a renewal. You guys, you've bought this product, your management's saying, what have we gotten out of this? And you're saying nothing really. We probably need to jump back down to the free version. So for us, we do a lot of screening in that process, the sales process, to make sure that the companies that we work with are ready to utilize something like Google Analytics 360. With a paid solution, and this is pretty much across the board with some of the enterprise tools out there, enterprise analytics tools like Adobe Analytics, Web Trends, if people still use that, and then some others, you have more granular segmentation and analysis, a lot more integrations, you have more control over your data, more data collection capabilities and quicker data collection capabilities, more sophisticated reports, more human support. All of these things are generally what's going to be offered with an enterprise level solution. Now, when it comes to Google Analytics specifically, I put this side by side here, but for Google Analytics 360 versus just the free version, there are a few major things that you'll get. One is going to be the integrations. When you think about Google Analytics, the free version, the main integration you get is with things like Google AdWords, which is now called Google Ads, Optimize, which is Google's A/B testing tool, Google Tag Manager, and then a few other things. When it comes to the 360 version, you get a lot more kind of like detailed integrations. So you're working with a lot of the DoubleClick products. So DoubleClick for publishers, that's currently called Google Ad Manager, DBM and DCM, DoubleClick Bid Manager and Campaign Manager. Those have been renamed into Display and Video 360. These are more advanced integrations that allow you to do some more sophisticated analyses and then ultimately take some more sophisticated actions on that data with things like remarketing lists, emailing based off of certain types of behavior on your site, and so on. The other big benefit with Google Analytics 360 versus the free version is just the sheer amount of data that you're able to collect with that. So we'll go through some of the reasons why you'll probably need to upgrade to GA360 in a minute here. But you can see here where it says data processing and export, you do get access to unsampled data with Google Analytics 360. You do have a service level agreement with Google that has a few things outlined in it. I'll also present on these here in a few slides. But the data is going to be at least 4 hours fresh, that's guaranteed, but generally it averages closer to 10 to 15 minutes in the interface. You get an integration with BigQuery, so you can actually pull out unsampled data into BigQuery to do some things with, and a number of other things. And then on top of that, these kind of benefits of GA360, covered in that license, you actually then have that support and service that comes from an organization like InfoTrust. So as your sales partner, we sell you the product, you get everything in those top 4 sections, and then the support and service, that's what comes from us. There's not many GA360 sales partners at this point. Google's actually scaled this back down. I actually can't remember what the total number is right now, but there are not many. We're one of them, and so we have been Google Analytics 360 sales partners since the first day that Google Analytics had a sales partner program. So we have a ton of experience not only migrating people to GA360 from the free version, but also from other tools like Adobe Analytics, Core Metrics, and some of these other tools. If you have any questions on the additional benefits with GA360, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll have my email on the last slide, so you can reach out to me. So let's go over some indicators you may need when you are actually using Google Analytics that present to you that you might need GA360. Flipping through here, one is your reports are going to be sampled often in the actual interface. So we see this a lot. People reach out and say, you know what, we're trying to put these dashboards together for our management team, and we're seeing that the actual information that's returned, it's about 1% of the total sessions or something are actually included in this report. With sampling, the limit is much lower for the free version versus the enterprise version. I'll actually go over what that looks like here in a minute. But that is one of the major benefits of upgrading to 360. You have a much higher threshold when it comes to sampling in the interface. Another piece is you need access to fresh data to do things like make marketing decisions or advertising decisions on a much quicker basis. With the free version of GA, you have, it's usually between 24 to 48 hours is how long it takes the data to populate in the actual reports. Now that can change depending on the amount of hits that are being collected and that sort of thing, but generally that's the rule of thumb. There's no guarantee on how quickly that data actually shows up in your reports, and so with Google Analytics 360, that is actually guaranteed under your SLA to be 4 hours or less, and generally is closer to about 10 to 15 minutes. You need access to hit level data for advanced analysis and or to do some type of user level data with other platforms. I'll walk you through that as well. We talked about this a little bit, but you are using other Google marketing platform products like Search Ads 360, Display and Video 360, and some of these other ones, but all of your data is actually stuck in those tools. One of the big pieces we covered with the integrations are you can integrate other Google marketing platform products with Google Analytics 360. And so this allows for a lot more sophisticated analysis, and then you can actually do some additional actionable stuff based off of that, like remarketing. And then the last piece here is your company requires a service level agreement for all the products that are used. This is generally for the really, really large companies, but they will have things in place where if the organization at the organizational level is going to use a product, they actually have to have a service level agreement. With a free version of GA, you don't get that. With some of the other products that are free, you don't get that. So these enterprise products have service level agreements built in to the actual product that guarantee things like uptime, data collection, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's talk about the first one here. Your reports in the interface often return sample data. So with the free version, your sampling limit is set to 500,000 sessions. If you're pulling data in any date range that's above 500,000 sessions, you are subject to sampled data. It also depends on if you're doing some type of ad hoc queries with adding things like secondary dimensions or table filters or whatever. But the standard rule of thumb, 500,000 sessions for the free version in the interface. Now, with the 360 version, it's actually 200 times higher. It's going to be 100 million sessions within the interface before you actually see sampling show up. One of the other big pieces is you can actually export unsampled data, even if you are still seeing sampled data as a GA360 user, you're above that 100 million sessions, you can then unsample, create an unsampled report out of the interface and then utilize that. With the access to fresh data, so this is something we also hear a lot, is that we're trying to make decisions for some of the publishers we work with. We're trying to make decisions to optimize the stories on our page, on our homepage, on certain section headers, and with how long it takes for the actual data to make it to GA, we just can't make those decisions in a timely manner. With Google Analytics 360, you do get a guarantee with that SLA, data freshness of 4 hours or less, but it averages closer to 10 to 15 minutes, like I've mentioned a few times. With the data freshness, there's also some other guarantees around the uptime for the interface. So I think it's like 99.9% guaranteed uptime in the interface and some other things. And Google will actually give you credits if you actually don't see that service. I've actually never seen that happen before, so the 99.9%, it's pretty accurate. You also need access to hit level data for advanced analysis and to connect user level data with other platforms. So this is another big one. So there's two pieces to this. One is trying to do advanced analysis on session level data, which is all you get within Google Analytics' interface or the API. That's nearly impossible. So if you're trying to understand, let's say, pathing, you're trying to understand how users are making across your website. There are a few reports in GA that will do that, but the reports are very janky. They're very hard to understand. So if you're trying to do some type of user level analysis, you need to actually do something based off of the hits that are being sent. This is an example from the BigQuery integration. This is what it looks like when you're actually looking on the back end of the data to see the sequences of hits for each individual user. So with the BigQuery integration, so that's J360 only, you do get access to that hit level data that gets piped over on a daily basis into BigQuery, where you then can use SQL or export that data into something like R or Python to then do your kind of like manipulation and analysis there. The other piece is connecting user level data with other platforms. So if you're trying to send information back and forth between the tools, generally it's going to be important that you're actually able to access this hit level data. For instance, if you're trying to combine things like advertising behavior or CRM types of integrations, a lot of that information needs to be processed on a user level basis. It's certainly possible to use some things with the GA free version, but when it comes to doing some of this like user level analysis or piping of user level data, the GA360 integrations are what's going to allow you to get there. The next one is you use other Google Marketing Platform products, but the data is siloed. So think back to the DoubleClick products. Those have actually been all renamed. I think I mentioned Display and Video 360, Google Ads 360, Google Search 360, or I think it's just Google Ads and then Google Search 360. There's a number of these integrations that are available once you hop up to Analytics 360. So this is a actual screenshot of the current integrations, and this is just some of them, not all of them, but the current integrations between the GMP products. And then with Google Analytics, you can actually pull in additional data through these integrations. So generally these integrations are two-way. One is you're pulling data out of one of these other GMP products into your Analytics 360 reporting. That's what we're looking at here in this screenshot. This is actually pulling Display and Video 360 data, so both view-through impressions and click-through impressions into Google Analytics and merging with the data for those users. And then they actually go the other way as well. So within Google Analytics, you can create audiences based off of any type of data that you have in GA, things like engagement, products that have been viewed or purchased, things along those. And you can share those audiences back into the other Google Marketing Platform products. So you can share those back with Display and Video 360 for retargeting purposes. And then we also mentioned the BigQuery integration as well on the previous one. The last one here is your company requires a service level agreement. So we talked about this. There are guarantees with Google Analytics 360 for the actual services that are built into the contract. On the right-hand side, these are some of the SLAs that you'll see within your contract. So they have a collection SLA, reporting SLA, and then a data processing SLA. When it comes to these, we've not actually seen any issues with these, but a lot of companies do require that they have this on file with a product company that creates these products so that they can reach back out to them if they do run into any issues. Again, I've never really seen that happen, but it's more peace of mind for some of these larger organizations that we work with. Okay, so the next section here is on demonstrating the ROI of analytics. So a lot of times the questions we hear are something like, how are we going to secure a budget for an analytics solution? Really, the way that we think about it is it really needs to be changed to something like, what do we need to actually demonstrate to keep our budget and secure a renewal? When it comes to something like Google Analytics 360, it's not just the product that you'll be paying for. I'll introduce some of these other pieces here in a little bit, but it's important to understand that you also need the support built into that tool and with that tool to actually take advantage of it. So you should already have an analytics budget before you go into this process of needing an enterprise analytics tool. If you don't have the team, if you don't have the processes in place, you're never going to be able to implement an enterprise analytics tool like Google Analytics 360. When it comes to actually demonstrating the ROI of analytics, this is definitely a tough thing to do because it's not as simple as saying like, okay, we implemented Google Analytics 360 last year. How much more money did we get out of this? There are a lot of different factors that go into that conversation, that calculation. So I'm going to present some of the ideas that you can actually use in your conversations with management as to showing some type of return on your analytics. But just know it is hard. That's the same type of thing as like, how do we show the ROI of our office communication tool like Slack? It's very tough to measure that. But there are some ways that we can actually get to a number. So again, we need to focus on this long-term success, not just a first conversion. When it comes to our users, we need to make sure that we are analyzing not just the last source of information, but everything else that we're doing along that customer's journey. It's not cost efficient to design an optimal customer experience for everyone. So we also need to be able to understand where we need to invest our money to push that needle. Also, focus on finding customers that create value for the company long term. So I do have, I think it's the next slide where I'll go over customer lifetime value, but you'll need to be able to target the individuals that are worth the most to your company. By cutting out the people that are not ultimately going to purchase with you and then only targeting people that will, you can show some very quick return on advertising spend wins if you're able to do this type of analysis. And then action on that. So with customer segmentation and targeting, one is what I just mentioned, retargeting customers based on customer lifetime value. So with customer lifetime value, you're basically understanding how much a customer is going to be worth over their projected lifetime with your organization. We have a data science team here internally that does a lot of different customer lifetime value models for our clients. Generally, it's going to be more e-commerce based because there's obviously a lot of revenue information available for that. But a lot of that analysis is then used to actually take action on that. And so we can actually show cost savings by removing people that have low lifetime values. And this is that next section here, excluding current customers with low customer lifetime value. And then we can also then create lookalike audiences to reach similar users to target new users that are going to have a high probability of purchasing. So these are just a few ideas for a way to show some quick wins and then also demonstrate an actual return on your GA360 product. Targeting the right customers is extremely important. So we've worked with a number of e-commerce clients that they are targeting very aggregate level segments. And so with that, you're always going to have, a certain percentage of people that just are never going to see your ad, are never going to click on one of your emails, or are never going to actually purchase a product. The more data we have, the better we can identify these customers based on their predicted lifetime value and probability to actually purchase. This is just a stat from, I can't actually remember what this is from, but it's showing that CRM-powered ads are actually 47% more effective than traditional targeting, which makes sense. But think about any of the other tools that you have and the data on these users. If you can pipe that data over into your analytics tool to create better targeting audiences, you're going to be able to not only have more effective ads, but decrease the actual cost per conversion and increase your actual return on advertising spend. The next section here is on media modeling. So we talked about this a little bit, but eliminating waste is important. You're going to stop targeting these people that come to the site but are actually never going to complete a conversion. There's always a number of these people that I don't know what it is, they don't have the money or they just can't will themselves to pull the trigger, but these are the people that you don't need to be marketing to. So we need to cut these people out to save you money to spend that better on some other person that has a higher probability of actually purchasing. The next one is identifying non-incremental media spend. So you actually get insights to what happened after those ads are clicked and after you were charged for that visit. So with a lot of the integrations with the other Google marketing platforms like Display and Video 360, you actually have the ability to pull in data to show people that have actually viewed your ad, haven't clicked on it, have actually viewed your ad, and you can tie that back into the actual behavior on your website. So view through, click through, all of these journeys, you can actually, once you connect your Google Marketing Platform products, you can then see that and make better decisions on your targeting and kind of like mix modeling. Return on advertising spend, don't want to hound on this, but you're able to quickly show wins by removing these types of people that aren't going to convert and then tie conversions and e-commerce revenue to the actual cost of an advertising channel. So along with those integrations with Display and Video 360 and some of these others, you can actually pull in cost data, which will allow you to understand not only the cost of the specific ads, but how much each user is in terms of a conversion. And then this would be an example showing you actual cost of acquisition by channel, return on ad spend for each of these channels. This actually incorporates a few different integrations. One is with the Google products, but then also uploading cost data import data from other networks like Bing, like Facebook, like Outbrain. You can actually do that with Google Analytics. That's not just a 360 feature, that's a standard feature as well. And then you can see these side-by-side type analysis report to understand, okay, what is the actual return on advertising spend across all of our products, not just these Google products that we can connect. And then this is an example here, just showing you what media modeling can actually get you to. So in this case, the probability of purchasing increases by 1.25 or 25% after clicking on AdWords and Facebook's ad versus just a Facebook ad. So you can get to this level of granularity to understand, okay, what is the right mix for our media so that we can then continue to improve towards a higher return on advertising spend. All right, and then the last section here is testing. If anyone has used something like Optimizely, Google Optimize, Visual Website Optimizer, all of these are A/B testing and multivariate testing platforms. With these, especially Google Optimize, you can connect your product with Google Analytics 360 to target based off of some of the things that we were talking about in previous slides. So one is we were talking about customer lifetime value. If you're using Optimize 360, which is the enterprise version of the free tool, you can actually share Google Analytics audiences with Optimize to target based off of that. So for instance, if we have cart abandoners, maybe we want to show them a specific test where we are putting a banner at the very top of the page to say, hey, don't forget about your cart or something like that. There's a number of different things that we can do based off of customer lifetime value, based off of their behavior on our site to actually target them and ultimately convert them. You can reach users based on any action, so obviously targeting users from where they are coming from geographically, what type of device they're using, what they're ultimately doing on your site, and who they are. So a number of different opportunities here for you to utilize Analytics 360 to deliver these tailored experiences to hopefully improve your conversion rates on the site. And then also measuring the impact, so knowing how effective your personalized experiences actually are for your business. If you're able to present this to management, obviously this is much sexier than saying, hey, we need Analytics 360, it's going to give us some more data. If you have a process and plan in place for how to utilize something like Analytics 360 and Optimize, that's much easier to show these wins to your management teams. And then this just shows an example actually targeting based off of someone that has 3 or more sessions, or more than 3 sessions, so 4 or more sessions on a site, and their session duration is over 500 seconds, I believe that is. But then through this, you can actually create this audience within GA, send that over to Optimize, and then target based off of that to target to highly engaged users. Now, the last section here is time to insights. You've probably heard of the acronym ACT, action changes things. Basically, how quickly are you going to be able to show some wins? Are you going to be able to save any time with any of the activities that you're doing now that you have access to Analytics 360 or any of these integrations with other products? There are a lot of stats out there in terms of how much time data professionals waste doing things. I have a few here. 3 in 5 data professionals say it takes days or weeks to access all the data they need. Obviously not ideal. Challenges with data access have motivated 70% of analysts to learn specialized programming languages. Again, spending more time. And then 44% of analytics teams spend more than half their time accessing and preparing data rather than doing actual analyses. So you can see a lot of time is wasted in the industry with doing some of the more mundane manual tasks. Are you able to save time with an enterprise tool like Google Analytics 360, which you can then present time savings to your management team to say, you know what, we think that we're going to be able to cut down our reporting by 20 hours a month. That's money that you are saving to essentially be able to do more bottom line driven activities like analyses, targeting, optimization, and things like that. So how quickly are you going to be able to generate these insights and recommendations based on this new tool? And will this new tool save you or your team time on a regular basis? That's a great way to show an ROI to your management team. Now, for the selling of Google Analytics 360 to management, this is important, and this is typically where we help our prospects get the agreement from the management team for an enterprise tool like GA360. So one is focus on value. What problems will you be able to solve with GA360? What additional data are you going to have through GA360 and these integrations? And then ultimately, what can you do with that data? So think about the integrations with the other GMP products like Display and Video 360. If you already use these products, those integrations with GA360 will allow you to better attribute your marketing and your advertising spend, hopefully allowing you to increase your return on advertising spend, build better remarketing lists, retargeting, and that sort of thing. So focus on the value, and also do not focus on technical details. So leave out those technical details, because if you are focusing on them, one of two things are going to happen. One is management is going to drill down on these technical details that they have little to no understanding of, and that's going to potentially derail your conversation. I think we've all run into those issues where you're trying to present something that's pretty technical. You can tell the person that you're presenting it to doesn't understand it, but then they're trying to drill down on something, or they're focusing on something that isn't important, but to them, they want to sound smart, so they're continuing to drill down on it. That's not ideal. We don't want that to happen. Don't focus on the technical details. The second piece of that is, if they don't focus on those technical details, you're probably just going to lose management's attention, which can lead to actually losing their pocketbooks. So stay away from the technical details. They don't need to understand how any of this stuff is working. They need to understand the value that you can get out of the actual tool. Emphasize ROI, or at least how you plan to measure it. So we talked about a few ways to do that in the previous section. With management, focus on those use cases and what you expect to accomplish for each one of those. This will show your management that you have a well-defined plan for actually generating that return on the GA360 investment. And the last one here is budget for people and upskilling, not just for tools. So this is very, very important, and I can't emphasize that enough. This is very, very important, but it's often overlooked. You need to ensure you have budget for a person or persons, in the case of a team, to fully utilize the actual tool to generate some type of return. I can't tell you how many times I've come across companies that purchase an enterprise level tool and they actually don't have anyone, not a single person, that truly understands how to fully leverage that tool. You've probably heard of Avinash Kaushik. He's Google's head analytics, what is his title? Analytics evangelist. But he talks about the 90-10 rule a lot. The main crux of that rule is that you should spend 90% of your budget on people and the remaining 10% on tools like GA360. This might be a bit extreme. I'm not sure if that split needs to be 90-10, but this should really make you think. So there's really no enterprise level tool on the market in any industry that does anything that you can purchase and it'll handle the rest for you. So you need to make sure that you have intelligent people that truly understand the tool if you want to generate any sort of return on your investment. If you don't have anyone within the organization with this skill or knowledge, you have a few options. One is you can hire somebody from the outside with the skills and knowledge. So hiring somebody to come in and take that over for your organization. You can hire an analytics partner like InfoTrust to act as your internal analytics team. Or you can identify a current employee that wants to learn, and then you invest in their education and upskilling. So those are the three main ways that if you don't have anyone right now, you'll need to look into to actually be able to roll out something like an enterprise analytics tool. The number one reason why enterprise tools like GA360 fail to get fully adopted within an organization is due to the lack of people. Not having the right person or the right people actually lead the implementation and adoption is a surefire way to fail. And so we don't want you guys to fail. Obviously, you don't want to fail. Make sure that you focus on the people and processes that you have in place before you actually go out and purchase an enterprise tool. All right, and then let's go over this last section here, finding the right GA360 sales partner. So a lot of these pieces are important when you are starting to evaluate the different GA360 sales partners like InfoTrust. One is account management and support. So how do they manage your account? What type of support are you going to get? A lot of sales partners put in a number of hours per month that you get of support with the contract. So make sure you understand that and make sure that the amount of hours that you're getting is going to be helpful in what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of the times, and just to be completely upfront with you guys, a lot of times companies will undercut each other with price, and then they're not actually taking less and less. They're basically just going to provide less and less support. So they might undercut another competitor by $15,000, and then they just give $15,000 a month less of support, something like that. Obviously not ideal if you are at the end of that trying to purchase a product and roll that out successfully across the organization, but it's important to understand that as you're going through those evaluations. If they are undercutting other people, what else are they cutting out of that actual support? Google Marketing Platform expertise, I think this one kind of speaks for itself. So you need to look for a partner that has a great track record and also the experience in industry clientele. If you are a large CPG company, you need to make sure that the sales partner that you are evaluating has worked with other large CPG organizations, can tell you some of the issues that they've run into and how they've solved those. Certifications is another one. So are there any other products outside of the GMP that they're knowledgeable about? Google Cloud is a big one because a lot of the GMP products like Analytics 360 connect with the Google Cloud. So if you want to be able to do any type of advanced analysis, data warehousing, data lakes, anything along those lines, you need to work with a partner that actually has those certifications for additional products or platforms like Google Cloud. And then also keep in mind, this is a long-term investment. So we get approached a lot with people that are saying, okay, we just want to try this out for 1 year. We want to see how it goes. And that's not really the way that we look at a potential GA360 partnership. We are looking to partner with you for the foreseeable future to make sure that you get not only the most out of the product, but you get the most out of our organization in driving you guys along that digital analytics framework that we discussed, those 6 Ps of digital transformation. So make sure that you're keeping in mind as you're evaluating sales partners, are these people that we can see ourselves working with for the foreseeable future, for the next couple years? If you're just going to do a test for a year, I would probably steer away from that and think more of trying to test out a Google Analytics certified partner with the free version of GA to see how things work that way. It's never great to spend a huge amount of money to test something out. A couple other important things to keep in mind is negotiating the right agreement. With GA360, it's based on monthly billable hits. So those hits are things like page views, events, all of those pieces get actually added into your monthly bill. And so there's tiers with Google Analytics 360. So there's hit level tiers. And then you also get overages based on where you end up at the end of the month. So keep that in mind as you're negotiating the right agreement. Really, the only thing that's negotiable here is going to be the tiered pricing. Google sets a limit on that, and then you have sales partners that have their fees added on. I would steer clear of actually negotiating on price. We don't actually negotiate on price here at InfoTrust. We negotiate on value, like I've mentioned. So kind of ignore that piece, but I would say what you want to negotiate on is the support level you're getting, types of strategic consulting work, and then training amounts. Those are important pieces of that. Again, if you're negotiating on price, you're not going to get a better price just to get a better price. You're going to get a better price because the sales partner is going to give you less. So make sure that you understand that. We have a very good understanding of how many hours are required a month to actually deliver base level support for our clients. We won't go below that. So if we get quoted 15, or if another organization gets quoted, $15,000 less than what we've quoted, we'll say that's fine, go with them. We'll see you in a year when you guys are fed up with the amount of support you guys get, and then you come back to us. Not trying to be mean, but that is just what it is. You will get less support if you're getting a less costly tier. Evaluate product bundles. This is another one. Some of the sales partners out there have some really cool products. I know a few of them have types of scanning tools. We at InfoTrust have a tool called Tag Inspector. So a lot of the times you can also evaluate these bundles with their in-house products or other products that they actually resell, like Optimize, to see if you get any type of discount on your GA360 license. So keep that in mind. And then also remember your 2 levers, so price and terms. We've been talking about this. If you can't negotiate on price, then you can negotiate on terms. And if you're getting a smaller price or a lower price, it's because you're getting lower terms. So keep in mind these 2 levers as you're negotiating. If you can't get a better price, try for those better terms. So can you get more support per month? Can you get more training? Are there any other types of value add services that the sales partner can add on top of what's being offered to give you a better deal? So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. I know that was about 45 minutes. That was perfect. That's what I was planning on. I wanted to, again, go over just a quick screenshot of this 6 P's of digital analytics transformation framework that we were talking about. So GA360 is a very powerful platform. It can make massive difference in how you measure, how you grow, and how you optimize your digital business. We tend to see that the companies that are most successful in implementing something like GA360 actually follow a process down to the T or very similar to what we have presented here on the board. If you'd like to discuss GA360 in more detail, please reach out to me. My email address is going to be on the last slide of this deck that'll actually get emailed out to you guys. I can walk you through how we use the 6 Ps to transform organizations, digital analytics, and then if you have any questions on GA360 specifically, any use cases, I'm happy to go over all of those with you. But just wanted to pull everything back in here. Again, remember that people and processes, those need to be in place before you go to the platform stage. It's very important that you have those, or else the actual platform that you purchase, that's not going to be successfully rolled out. So if you take anything out of this, hopefully take that and maybe a couple other things I said, but just wanted to mention that. All right, so we have some time here at the end. I wanted to go through some questions. Before we get to the questions, I wanted to show you, we have a couple other things coming up from InfoTrust. So we have a Spring of Analytics 360 webinar series going on until next month. So if you're interested in signing up for some more webinars, go to infotrust.com/Spring of GA360. We also have Google Analytics 360 Roadshow that is going around the United States to some of the major cities. If you want some more information on dates and to register, go to infotrust.com/Roadshow 2019. All right, so let's get to the questions here. Looks like we had a few of them. Let's see, will we be able to get the printed version of the webinar after it's complete? Yes, Kim, we will get that out to you. Let's see, is Data Studio in 360 able to integrate with SEMrush? This is a great question. So Data Studio does not have a native integration with SEMrush, but there are a number of community connectors that potentially might. So there's over 100 community connectors, I believe, right now, and a lot of those are built by GA360 partners for different integrations with other platforms. So check that. If it doesn't, there are a number of other ways to get data out of a platform and into Data Studio. You can do CSV imports. There's an integration with Google Sheets, integrations with Google BigQuery, and then some other types of generic databases. So there's a number of different ways to get that if there's no community connectors for that. Generally, the default connectors within Data Studio are for Google products only. Got a question, time range, 500,000 sessions per day or month or a year. It's not, that's not the right way to think about it. So the time frame does not matter. It's any time frame that's above that threshold is what gets sampled. So in terms of sampling, if you're looking at, it could be 30 days or 3 years, regardless, if it's over that 500,000 sessions in the free version, and it's not one of the overview reports that are not sampled, you can get back sample data in that. And then same idea with the 360 version, that limit is 100 million sessions, but the time frame does not matter. It's whatever time frame you're looking at. If it's over that threshold, then you might be subject to sampling. But good question. Another question from Jordan. What about not provided, not set data that shows up in the free version? Will we be able to see this data with 360? So yes and no. With not provided, generally that means that GA is just not getting that information from somewhere. So if you're getting not provided from something like, say if you're looking at organic keywords, that happens because no longer is Google or any other search engine passing over the non-secure version of the keyword that's being sent out. For not set, there are some instances where upgrading to GA360 will solve some of those issues. One is if you have a lot of unique page URLs. So for instance, if you have like, you know, a bunch of pages for like users, each have their own profile page, or you have different variations of like an ID or something that constantly changes, GA will by default treat those all as different URLs And within the free version, I think it's 50,000 rows that you're limited to per day. With the 360 version, that's actually much larger. So a lot of those 50,000 plus that would get lumped into the not set page name or page URL would actually then be still presented in the actual report. So yes, you get access to more rows of data with GA360 as well. There are some other issues where you might see not set because of an implementation issue. If it's something with like landing page not set, generally that means you're sending an event without any page view in a session. There's another number of other things. So we'd have to take a look at that for you, Jordan, to be 100% clear. But yeah, there's a number of things that might fix. With GA360, does that include direct support from Google as well as strategy support from an InfoTrust reseller? So no, with GA360, everything's done through the sales partner. Google's not staffed to do any type of product support for the most part, especially when it comes to any of the products in the GMP. That's why they use a support network and a sales partner network. So as a sales partner, we sell you GA360, any of the support, training, strategy work, architecture work, that all comes through your sales partner, which would be InfoTrust. The only thing you have with Google is an SLA for the actual product, Google Analytics 360. But good question. Let's see, if you have a marketing automation tool like HubSpot, are there significant gains over GA360? This is a bit tough to answer because I would not compare HubSpot with GA360. They do two vastly different things. HubSpot does have some type of web analytics functionality built into the platform, but really it's a marketing automation tool that's used almost like a CRM system and then to deliver kind of like tailored messages both on the site and then through email. Google Analytics isn't configured to be some type of marketing automation tool like that. More or less, Google Analytics 360 is going to be for understanding what your users are doing across your properties, your digital properties, so websites, apps, and then also being able to attribute the success of your media, basically that's being shown out there. HubSpot doesn't have I'm not sure if they even have anywhere close to the capability that GA360 would when it comes to media mix modeling. With the 360 version, you get access to the data-driven attribution model, which uses machine learning to basically show you which different channels within that customer journey are most important. There's a number of other things that GA360 is built to do, but they're not really, I wouldn't compare the two. I think they do two different things, but very well. They're not, it's not an either or for that. But that is a good question. The free GA is limited to a 90-day look-back window. Does GA360 allow for a larger look-back window? If so, what is the max? That is a good question. They're all the same, so there is no benefit for GA360 when it comes to the look-back window stuff. That's a maximum that Google has set for all of their products. So no, there is no additional benefit with 360 for that, unfortunately. Let's see, another question. If you integrate with Salesforce DC, is there any limit to the number of fields and objects you can integrate into, including custom fields and objects? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't actually do much with the Salesforce integrations. I work mainly with our e-commerce and publishers. I'm assuming, yes, there probably is a limit to the number of fields and objects you can integrate into. I believe Google has a number of support documents on this, so it would probably be covered in there. But if you want to reach out to me, Alex, separately, I can look into that for you. But that's a great question. I think that's all the questions, so I'll stay here and see if we get any more over the next couple of minutes. But appreciate everyone paying attention today. Appreciate you guys joining. Hopefully I was able to give you guys some valuable information. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is agibson@infotrust.com. So any additional questions you guys have, feel free to shoot those over. But thanks for paying attention, everyone. Thanks for all the great questions. And you'll be hearing from our marketing team that will send out a copy of the recording along with these slides. All right, thanks again.